On this Halloween episode of Slightly Average Guys, we're talking about candy. When is it time to stop dressing up? And the interview process. Why is it so weird in 2020?
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of your Slightly Average Guys podcast. Welcome to Thursday. We pretty much release them just about every single Thursday. We do have, I think 1 week that we skipped, but we appreciate you coming out. Join us on YouTube. You can check out our live ones. We're on Twitch right now, obviously live, and you can check out our podcast also pretty much on any platform you desire. Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, and also there's another one, and I can't remember it. But thanks for joining. Welcome.
It is the Halloween episode, and we're just here dressed up for everybody.
I honestly can't believe I didn't even mention this. This is obviously a very special podcast because hey, look at us. We look like dumbasses. We look good though.
I pretty much look randomly like this. This is just my standard look.
Yeah, this is nice. So Ryan, let's kick it off.
All right, so let's jump right into here. It is the Halloween episode, getting things kicked off and really talking about what's going on this weekend. Obviously, it's Halloween. For those that know, we're recording this on the 29th of October. Just wondering, what's everybody kind of doing? What is everybody thinking about? I know we got a few different questions here. Let's start out with what first off, worst. We're gonna go with worst. Worst candy that you could possibly get on Halloween as a kid. Not necessarily right now. Like, what was the one thing that you hated?
Oh my God! Well, as a kid or like now?
No, as a kid. We're going as a kid first. Okay,
Andy, I'm going to put you on the hot spot.
See if you've changed or not. Andy, go.
So worst candy for me was any Starburst or chewy candy or crunchy candy. Like Halloween's all about chocolate. I don't want anything besides chocolate. If you gave me something other than that, you got egged.
Ooh, got egged, man. You went hardcore on it, man. Full on out.
Come on.
All right, Ryan. Like let me hear from you because I know specifically exactly the thing that I hated.
Okay, well, you go ahead, because I'm still trying to think.
All right. I know I threw you guys
This
on
is kind of a
here.
tough one, as how simple this is. Like, what's your worst favorite candy?
Okay, first off, I love saltwater taffy, and this isn't it. But, like, everybody knows the little butterscotch things that are wrapped up in the wax paper that you got.
Werther's Original?
No, not those. Like, I would have been okay with those. Like, I'm talking, like, they weren't the caramel ones. They were literally, like, some weird... They tasted like somebody balled up paper, chewed it up, spit it back out, and then wrapped it in some wax paper. And they came in like black and orange.
Oh,
black and orange little things twisted. You never ate them. You just threw them away. But if you did, sometimes they tasted like peanut butter. Sometimes they tasted like butterscotch caramel. I'm pretty sure they were cat turds.
That was straight poison.
Wait, sorry. I hated those things. Hated them.
There you go.
Ryan, have you thought of what you hated yet? Is it like a Smartie?
Honestly, this is extremely tough for me. Like, all I can think about is, like, the stuff that I've seen on the internet, like apples. Yeah, that's a pretty shitty candy.
Yeah, but whoever got
the
this,
other
like,
stuff, it's like...
You don't remember anything from your childhood?
I was drinking a lot.
You were drinking a lot as a kid?
I'm just kidding. Oh, you know what No, okay, I got it. Butterfingers.
Oh.
I freaking hated those things.
No.
They were too hard. They were too crunchy. They were too caramelized. Everything just got everywhere. Like, you crunch it, and it's just like half of your crunch and your bite is on your lap.
I'm sorry. That's it. We're fading out. This is over. We've lost one of our hosts, and we will no longer be there. Sorry.
I remember that vividly. My first Butterfinger. It was terrible.
What Andy showed was my second. I hated, malted milk balls. Wasn't a fan of them. Heather Grinda in the chat. If you're not in the chat, get in the chat for Twitch. She's on there. She was saying that she hated Butterfingers as well. So Ryan, you're not alone. But it is 2 versus 2 right now. So
that's what's up. Shout out to Heather. Yeah.
No, something happened to you guys in your childhood, and we need to talk about that.
We know a balloon popped in Heather's face, so that's what happened to her, and it's caused a whole different taste thing. Apparently, something happened, this area. We don't know. Okay.
So on a second topic though, with dealing with candy, right? Like, we live in Phoenix, Arizona. There's tons of people that are going to be, well, I don't know, with like everything going on, but are you guys expecting trick-or-treaters?
My neighborhood hardly ever has kids. Like, we sat out the last, not 2 years. We didn't do last year. 2 years before that, and like had all of like 5 people come by. So
Okay.
Didn't have a ton, only had a few.
I am absolutely going to count myself out. Like, I'm in third floor apartment complex. I'm done. Like, cashed out. Not getting any candy for anybody. If anything, Camo's going to get some candy, and that's my dog.
See, I would go get like full-size candy bars, and if some little kid made the trek up to see you at the top of the mountain, you reward him or her with like all of it. You just
What if he's like a 40-year-old man?
Then no, you tell him to
Hand him a
GTFO,
beer.
kick it down the stairs.
Yeah, for real. That's I can't do that. So either way, I should try that and do that and just see if anybody stops by.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any decorations on the front, so that literally, and I don't have any lights to like tell people I'm home, right? So it's kind of like I'm shooting myself in the foot.
You live in a cave, is what you're trying to tell us.
I live on the third floor of an apartment complex, but yes.
All right. Well, let's continue on this candy topic here. Favorite candy currently.
Okay.
Current favorite candy. Ryan, you
I got
started.
this. I got this for sure. Snickers. Hungry?
Okay.
Grab a Snickers. You see me in a bad mood? Hand me a Snickers. You ever seen a Snickers commercial? That is me. I get real hangry, real quick. Ryan knows this. Katie knows this. Parents know this. Heather's on here. She freaking probably knows this. I get hangry. Hand me a Snickers, and I'm Gucci. Everything's good. Snickers, absolutely, hands down.
Now,
Okay.
now, are we
Not
talking-
frozen either. Ew, gross. Out of the room temperature.
Now, let me ask you a question because this is going to go shoot right down the middle of that. Have you ever had the Snickers ice cream bar?
No. Well, excuse me. Yes. And to answer your question, no.
Ugh.
No.
I mean, I
Because
wouldn't consider it a candy.
basically
this
just
is
eating-
ice cream at this point.
It's basically just eating like ice cream, like cookie dough ice cream is basically what it is. Like cookie dough without the dough, but like cookie. Just picture a whole bunch of stuff mixed in with the cookie with the ice cream. And now you have a Snickers ice cream bar.
If I would have prepped a little better, I would have been able to cut you out of this video right now. But I didn't prep enough to be able to.
I'm
switch to that.
misfiring, man. I got Butterfingers as the worst. You guys don't like that? I don't like Snickers, like frozen Snickers ice cream bars.
Hey, Betty White, whatever.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh,
You know what? I just need to get out of here. Maybe it's time.
Maybe we need a countdown. This is Mission Control. We're going to give you a countdown. Here's T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a go.
Oh my god. Okay, no joke. Perfectly timed to like kick me out of this whole thing. But this is perfect. So if you haven't noticed already, I'm wearing a NASA shirt.
That's all.
that's
I'm
all.
from the South, man. Nassau. That's basically about it. Andy, what's your costume?
I am dressed up as Thing 1. And you can see right here where it says Thing 1. And I have blue hair.
How have you had that? When did you acquire that?
So my family's pretty big in dressing up. We always try to do something as a family. Going back to when my kids were real little, we got a wagon and everybody was a pirate and like we made a pirate ship. It was cool, right? We pulled the kids around the neighborhood. So my wife dressed up like she had this gear a couple years ago, and then she bought Cat in the Hat. So she's the Cat in the Hat. Last year we were Toy Story. So she was Buzz Lightyear.
No way. All right.
I'm sure you could guess what I was. I was Andy. And, the girls, I forget what they were, but almost everybody, I think 3 out of 4 of us were Toy Story. So we're Cat in the Hat, Thing 1, and then.
But do you keep these? You keep them?
Yeah.
These are forever costumes.
No, not necessarily. We don't keep them that long. I think we give them like 2 or 3 years, and then just kind of recycle.
Mm.
And get rid of them.
All right. Yeah.
You
See,
never know.
mine,
Farkle.
Just because it's Halloween doesn't mean I can't wear this, right? I mean, I could wear this wig. Look, I could be Rick and Morty with this wig, right? I could dress up as Rick. So
Oh,
you
that's
totally could. Actually, can you please do that?
uh,
Can we just have like a
But
like a podcast outside of this that people just can like pay for to get? That would be amazing.
Only site, and it's a whole different show.
Pay for that.
Whole different show.
But
And then
yeah,
Sorry.
so no, I was gonna say my favorite candy is Reese's, right? So not Reese's Pieces, which are okay, but I'm all in on Reese's peanut butter cups. But I can go for the regular one or the tiny miniature ones. So either one, I'm good either way. But for sure, those should be frozen. If you're gonna go mini Reese's peanut butter cups, those are in the freezer. Those are the best.
Now, are you the person that, like my wife, who eats all the way around the edge? Sorry, I'm cutting out because I'm away from my mic. All the way around the edge prior to eating the middle part of the Reese cup.
That's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, she only wants just like full blown peanut butter by the end of it. I'm like, I got a jar over there. It'd be way cheaper. That's just what you want.
No, that's strange.
Yeah.
So do you then like the M&Ms with peanut butter inside of them? Like, so you can get the bigger M&Ms that have
that's just a bootleg Reese, like PC.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, peanut M&Ms, yes.
Yes.
Peanut butter, no.
You like peanut M&Ms, but not the peanut butter filled
That's
M&Ms.
right. Yeah.
Wow, you guys are just so off from
Dude,
my
they have
liking.
two totally different flavors. Like let's not bullshit
Yeah.
here. Like this is like
Okay.
like this is a weird ass topic to be bringing up right now. How we're arguing over nuts. Do you like your nuts smashed, or do
Nuts,
you like your nuts, creamy?
Creamy nuts?
Do you
If
like
you
them
haven't
just
figured
raw
out
nuts?
in this podcast, I'm a very particular person. Do I respect your opinion? Absolutely. Do I think you're wrong? Absolutely. And Ryan, go ahead. What's your favorite?
All right. To bring it back full circle, it's probably a butter. Well, it depends. Butterfinger. Like if we're just talking like bar, I'm gonna pick Butterfinger. Like if we're just talking like the one thing that I want, not very often, because there's a lot of candies that like are decent, right? That you can eat, but not all the time. Like you could eat like a Rice Krispie treat like nonstop. But
Which we have done that.
Yep, with cases of them, and you just are like, that's why I'm fat. So you can eat those, but there's this thing called like a bun bar, and it's like you can get it in Indiana. I'm originally from Indiana for everybody watching, and you can get it in Indiana. It's like they have a maple flavor. My dad and I both love them. It's like crack, looks like a turd once you peel it out of the wrapper, but it's amazing. So we're like picking that one, picking
I'm
that
not gonna
like
lie.
as a one-off.
I don't think I've ever heard of that thing. What's it called? A bun bar?
Bun bar, yeah. It's like in the maple. They have two different ones. They have a caramel one, but the maple is the best.
All right, man. I'm gonna next time you go there, I guess you're just gonna have to bring a couple back because I've never had one.
Yeah, I need to try this thing too.
They aren't making them back. I'll get you some. I'm going, to Indiana here in like 3 weeks. So. But,
So one thing I want to add on Halloween candy, as a dad, and Ryan, as your kid gets to trick or treat, you get to teach your children a valuable lesson here about government and tax, right? So as your kids are trick or treating, you enforce or enact the dad tax, and you get to dig into their bag anytime you want, and you pick out what you want, and then they can't say anything. It's just dad tax, which is a very valuable lesson about the government. They pretty much come into your paycheck, take out what they want, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yep. And if you don't, you get in trouble. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, if you say no, you can't have all, dad tax. I'm not pulling out of my bag. Then you take the whole bag. Say, sorry, I've put a lien against you. You can't have any candy at all.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I think we've mentioned this.
The
lightly
easiest
in one of the
part
other
about that is Ryan's kid is way too young. You take him trick or treating, and he'll like the candy for about 5 seconds, and then want a toy.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yep.
dad tax in this situation with Ryan's kid, no problem.
That's just
They
diabetes.
could take the whole bag.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, you're too young for this one, and this one, and oh, look, here, you can have. I don't know.
But have you
There's an
ever,
orange.
so with that situation, have you ever had a time where you've had to literally search through their candy because, it's 2020, there's some different people out there,
Yeah.
and, we're all kind of know where we're going with this is you could have some not candies in there is basically where I'm going.
Typically I'd say not the last couple of years, but when they were real little and like it was a big deal to them, and they would get just half a pillowcase full, I'd make them dump it out, and we just kind of did a once over to make sure there wasn't anything in there. Typically, it was to take out the toothbrush or the raisins or any of that crap that people try to put in there.
Yeah.
But I've never had an experience personally. When I was little, I've never known anybody that had anything weird like that. So, but we try to do it that way. Now they're old enough where, like we go to a friend's house and it's a community that they all the kids, it's a gated community. So they just go around there. I've never felt the need to really be super sketchy. Plus, I don't feel like we're going into sketchy neighborhoods, but I guess that doesn't really matter. It could be anybody if they're going to do something right. But
yeah,
like I said, usually it was just, let's just give it a once over and look at it and see, but I've never found anything.
For sure. Makes sense. But yeah, I mean, that is something you definitely have to think about, especially as your kids. You may not be going trick-or-treating with your kids. You may be just letting them roam. In the Midwest, I at least used to roam by myself, and get out there and trick-or-treat by myself. That probably doesn't happen, of course, depending on the age.
No. See, let's see, mine are almost 13 and 10, so they barely started going by themselves maybe 2 years ago, but they had to stick together. But we were still, behind the scenes in walking the neighborhood. We've never let them just have full reign and be like, see you later, come back.
For sure.
As two little girls. So it was always group effort, but yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So since we are all grown-ass adults and on a podcast dressed up, let's talk about, continuing the Halloween theme here. When is it too old to dress up? And I think I'm going to make a caveat to this. Like, you're never too old to dress up, but when are you too old to dress up and go trick-or-treating? Right? Like, not with your kids. Like, when is it the point when you're like, you should stop doing this, Ryan? When did you stop, Ryan?
I mean,
I'm going this year. What are you talking about?
So we did have a party this year that I had to deny because I had a friend come into town. Would I have gone to that? Absolutely. What would my costume have been? I would have dressed in all black. This is what Corey did, right? It's not my idea, so shout out to Corey. Nice idea. You could probably see her feet. Oh, no, you can't. Okay. Anyways, she dressed in all black, and we got little neon breakable lights that you just kind of break in half. And then she taped them all over, and she was a stick person. Just roaming around there in her stick little self. She had a stick butt. She had, stick boobies, stick arms, stick legs.
How do you have
so that's probably what I would have been. But to get, like, I guess a little bit further into it, it really just depends on your lifestyle. You don't have to be social. You can be non-social, right? The people who are non-social, this is probably their favorite part of year, right? They get to be somebody else that they might not normally be, potentially. Right. So it just depends on how much family you have, all that good stuff.
This is a host from off-screen host, Ryan. Just letting you know, you might want to listen to the question from now on. This has happened multiple times in multiple, episodes of this podcast. Please listen to the question.
When are you too old to go Halloween?
But I made the stipulation that I was like, as an adult, we all dress up for certain events, But when are you too old to go trick-or-treating, and dress up and go trick-or-treating? Yes.
Oh my god.
When did you stop? Like, I remember, like,
I stopped in high school, man.
Yeah, I think I did it my freshman year, and I want to say I even felt weird doing it there, and I went with a bunch of people, but I was just like, can we just, like, go buy some candy and then not have to walk around?
And we got to think, too, like, at what point do you actually make money to where you just go buy your own stuff? Like, it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
So mine was probably, like, high school. I was like, I'm done with this.
Gosh, I think I was junior high, probably 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade, the last time I actually went trick-or-treating.
Yeah, see, like Heather Grinda in the chat is saying, did you use a pillowcase or a trick-or-treat bag? And I first feel like we need to list off the fact of how bad using a pillowcase is nowadays, because it sounds like you're just trying to, attack somebody. Either you're going to club them, homie, don't play that, or you're slinging crack. I don't know. One of the two. You know, what you got in that bag? You know, type of thing.
I was a pillowcaser.
Yeah.
So you were. So see, I always had a bucket. Like,
Yeah.
it
And
was a
both.
pumpkin bucket. You know, I thought everybody had the pumpkin bucket.
No,
I'm
you
going to
got 'em from
continue.
the Happy Meals at McDonald's. Like, remember when they were cool when you were a little kid, right? For the Halloween, and you got the little ghost or the witch, or I'm sure they had a pumpkin. That was what I went
Dude,
to.
I totally forgot about that. But yeah, I do remember now that you're mentioning it.
I'm just like, all this stuff is just pushing into different topics for me. One simple, very simple question. You're walking around as a kid, you're trick-or-treating, you come up to a house that has its lights on, but nobody's home, but they leave a bucket out.
Mhm.
Guess what this bucket's filled with? It's filled
Yep.
with candy. They got
Birds,
2
because
buckets,
I
3 buckets, one
crap in
massive bucket. They say, take 1 or 2 apiece, please, and walk away. It's enough for everybody. Really? How many are you guys taking? Ready to go. Andy.
I need some clarifying answers before.
What's
Is
in
there
it?
candy you like?
No, am I trick or treating as an adult or am I as a kid?
This
Because
is.
if I'm an adult, I'm taking all of it right now.
Oh, no way. And if you're a kid,
Yeah.
you're going to like, you were that good of a kid that you would listen to the rules?
Oh, 100%. So here's what I would do now. I would take it right back to my house, and I just recycle it and hand it back out.
But you already bought candy for the kids, so then you're just doubling up on your candy.
Did I know?
Yeah. Maybe what he had bought was total, and then now this stuff's good. You know, they're really good.
No, I was always the good kid. Even taking my daughters when they had the bucket, I'm like, just take 1 or 2, right? But we would always remember that house, and on the final lap, whatever's left is free game, right? If there's enough in there and you can whatever you can fit in your hand, that was it.
Yep.
And then you can go.
For
That's
sure.
exactly-
Ryan, what were
exactly.
you? 1 candy, 2 pieces, or the whole damn thing?
I was Randy. I was like, I'd always be the guy that would take 2, you know, but I would get it back on the second loop, you know, the loop coming home, because it's like, all right, you know, where we lived, you know, I actually know of a house that did this exact thing. So, like, always got it on the back loop because we were coming back, and it would be literally like right at the time when you're supposed to stop doing it anyway. I'm like, well, nobody needs that.
What about you?
Yeah, you didn't tell us your opinion here, Ryan. You know, you seemed like a super rule follower as a kid.
If you knew my mom, I had to be. And if you knew my mentality, I had to push myself even more to be that rule follower. So again, I was that guy. I took 1, I took maybe 2, depending on what the sign said. But I literally remember vividly seeing somebody behind me just take all of it, and I'm just like, you asshole.
Yeah.
That's for everybody, not just you. And of course, we all knew who took it. This was like kind of obvious, but it was like, come on, man. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah, it was crazy though. But okay, anyways, side note.
Side note, you just not really a side note. I mean, you were that was good. You led right into that.
These candy things are just like all over the place. So many memories are popping up, you know?
Well, if we're talking about things popping up, you know, I hear
Hey.
there's a countdown popping up. Andy, can we get a countdown?
Yeah, this is Mr. Controller. We're ready. T-minus 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a go for liftoff.
Mission Control, this is Roger for launch.
I figured out how to shoot him off the screen. It was great. It was great.
Stupid.
So freaking dumb.
It's
So
amazing.
dumb.
Absolutely
Oh,
amazing.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
My
let's-
headphones fell off.
Okay. All right. We're gonna go with a random question. Random question right now before the final topic. Okay. Would you rather be the smartest moron or the dumbest genius? Is there a difference? Ryan?
Oh, Andy, this is all you, baby.
Oh, wow.
I got to think about this. This is. I don't want to say the wrong thing here.
I think Ryan's already picking number 1 because we don't understand how he can't figure out the question. Andy.
I guess I'd want to go with the smartest. No, the dumbest smart person, because dumb can be very subjective.
Uh-huh.
So I'm still freaking genius, but when it comes to I don't know, street smarts, I might be a complete moron, but I'm still brilliant rather than the smartest moron. Because if I'm an idiot, I don't know if I'm an idiot.
But also, to the same point, moron is very subjective as well.
True.
So I was going to choose the opposite side because I'd rather, obviously everybody kind of strives to be intelligent, right? At least, to improve themselves, right? Whether it's smart, whatever. Not to get off topic, Ryan. But again, it's very subjective. So I would probably choose the smartest moron because is moron just like silly and stupid and just wild and crazy, or are we talking like moron where he can't swipe his credit card to pay a bill or something like that?
I think Andy kind of hit it on its head on how I would take this question, right? This question technically is saying, do you want to be street smart or do you want to be a specialist and extremely smart at something like math, like a general topic? Like you're extremely smart at that, but you have no street smarts.
Ooh.
That's what this question I think is truly, if you take out the dumb and the subjective piece of it, it's, do you really want to be really, really smart in one particular thing, or do you want to have general street smarts? And
that's what
I'm
Andy
talking
just
like
answered.
a particular thing is a high level thing, not like, hey, I can cook really well. I'm talking like, you're the top of your game in some industry, just to make it easy.
Yeah, and I think that's what Andy just answered, right? So he wants to be the smartest dumb person, which he's, just for example, he's an accountant who's ridiculously smart, but could be extremely just like dumb
in the
and
glass
difficult
doors
to
because he
talk
can't
to.
figure out. He's the guy that always just wants to push when it
I'm Rain
literally
Man.
says pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm ridiculously smart.
Okay.
Yeah, well, okay, Ryan, you go.
Oh.
You go. You go.
Man, all right. This is a tough one because I have a follow up to this that my brain wants to flow into. But let me answer it the way. Oh man, I think I'd want to be less street smarts and more specialized. The dumbest genius, because I feel like you can capitalize on that more. Now, quality of life, depends upon how you're looking at things, But I feel like me and Andy have had enough interactions with people that are some of, and I'm not going at this just from the wealth side of things, but they are literally stumbled themselves so far into a lot of wealth because they were smart in something, but they blindly went into something. They never thought of the ramifications to something, and it works out for those people. Like I'm one of those that tries to look at it from all angles, and I overanalyze and handcuffs me.
Ryan, please keep talking. I don't mean to interrupt, but whenever you talk,
like a bobble. So with really
your head is just like going crazy. I love it. It's amazing. Keep going.
It
It really bobbles around. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay. So, yeah. All right. So anyway, so I'm answering it from that way. Let's ask him. I'm going to take it and twist it a little bit. Would you rather know a lot about a little or a little about a lot? Meaning, you know a little about a ton of different topics. That's factual. Or do you just want to be like, I know my one thing, and it's kind of the same question, but kind of not. Ryan, which way are you shooting?
Yeah, I already know my answer because I'd much rather know a little about a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and that is hands down. That could be. We're in a time of voting, right? So that could be know a little about politics, and you know how many things I had to vote on that stupid ballot? Like that was insane. And if I knew a little about a lot of those things,
450,000 judges that you were saying should stay there.
Just think of how many things are out there that you could know a little bit about. I'm wearing a Nassau gear, right? If I knew a little bit, it's just
First off,
hands down. I could just
again,
go
it's
forever.
NASA. No, there's no L in it.
NASA.
Nassau. Like that's a
Isn't that what I
place
said?
you go to is Nassau.
NASA.
NASA.
NASA. Yeah.
There we go. So we know the smartest moron in the room. Andy.
Yeah,
buddy.
Gosh, I guess a little about a lot.
A little about a lot. I think that'd be generally like where it falls. So,
Yeah.
All right, that was the random topic of the podcast. All right, so final one.
That was time for your deep voice.
I know.
Nope.
Random topic of the podcast.
So, final topic. Little off from what we've been talking about with Halloween and everything here, but I just want to go through it because I think there are a decent number of people going through this right now. COVID kind of throwing a wrench into the whole world and stuff. A lot of people laid off. A lot of people look for jobs, which means there's a lot of interviews going on right now. And I got to admit, I've been part of that. My work actually knows about it because it is a sister company to ours. So going through the interview process, and maybe it's because it's a sister company, but I've been through technically 3, but 2 in-person ones now. And these are the weirdest things I've ever been through in my entire life. Like, I still don't know what job they're offering me. Like, it's like, hey, yeah, so what do you do? And all that stuff. And, yeah, so we could use that. Okay. Like, no title, no salary range, no nothing. It's
Have you asked the questions about what it is and stuff, and they still can't tell you, or
So-
like where do you stand?
Well, yes and no, and I know that's a weird thing because
No, because you don't want to be too blunt.
yeah, I actually have asked direct questions, just not to the people I'm directly interviewing because those aren't the people I'm supposed to ask those questions to. They're like intermediate people. Like today, I met with a higher up guy, and he actually had a few more things to me, but he's still somebody else is pushing it, which is why it's so weird. It's like they're like, oh yeah, hey, I have this other guy over here at one of our other companies. We can pull him in and help out with these different things. So they're like, okay, well, let me talk to him to figure out, is this guy competent? Which totally makes sense. I'm like totally on board, understandable, But I keep asking the investors and everybody like, okay, well, what is the job? They're like, well, what you do now, but you're gonna help the other people. Like, okay, so is my title the same? Well, we'll talk about that. I know. Isn't that what we're doing right now? I feel like isn't that the conversation? Aren't we that far along?
And one more question, like follow-up question: did you apply for this?
No.
Okay, so somebody within your network was like, "Hey, we think this would be a good opportunity for you."
It wasn't even that. It was literally the investor of one of our companies. Came and was like, "Hey, yo, one of the other companies that we have, needs some IT help. We're getting ready to do a few different things. I'm trying to not give enough stuff to call out which company we're talking about because I'm not."
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. So they're like, hey, we need some things. We're doing stuff with buildings and upgrading some systems and stuff, and we definitely need some help over there. Would you be willing to? Are you interested? That's how it first got pitched. Which, yeah,
all right,
absolutely, sure. Want to find out more? Can I find out about the business? Go over there, meet the people. Started with the first one. Had some weird conversations.
But in the same time, like as all this is going on, you raise your hand like you're interested. You got to let me know like the basics to even find out if I'm fully interested.
Yep.
And because a lot of that shit has to do with 1, pay, and 2, what am I actually going to be doing?
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
gotta. That's a first interview type deal.
One. Yeah, after the first one, that's like where I totally went to, which was I don't know what you guys are offering. Like, do you just want help? Is that what you're like? Because these are 2 different topics, right? Are you telling me that you want me to move over there full time, or are you saying, hey, can you help out with this? Like that's what I have to start with. Of what is that what you're offering? Like, is it those 2 things, and then we can go down the avenue of all the different questions that are inside of those 2 ones because they are 2 different avenues of negotiations, right? Anyway. Great problem to have. I'm not, downplaying that fact. I'm very, thankful that I have these opportunities that are in front of me. But I was just like, is anybody else going through this stuff? Andy, I know recently you just, went through a whole bunch of different interviews and have changed jobs recently. Like, what I know mine's a little unique, but like, how is yours going?
Yeah, so I applied for a job here locally, and within like 2 days, I got contacted to schedule a phone interview. So I did my phone interview, and within 2 hours of the phone interview, like, it went well. I mean, it was just a general phone interview. Within 2 hours, they wanted me to then talk to, the VP or a VP. So we set that up for the next day. So I spoke to him the next day. Then he got back to the first gentleman who I spoke with, who would have ultimately been my supervisor. He then asked me to come and meet everybody. So we're within like 48 hours, 72 hours, right, of my first contact. So he wanted me to come meet everybody. So I drove up to their office. I met the entire team that I would work on, including the guy on my first call. And then two other gentlemen. One was the CFO, and the other guy was, let's say he was like product manager. And so I spent a good 90 minutes to 2 hours there, mostly with the gentleman who's the product manager. And he asked me all sorts of questions that were really unrelated to what the role was. And part of it, the evolution of the conversation was, he goes, "Why are you applying here? You're overqualified." And we had a really interesting conversation about, he's like, "What do you really want to do? Let me give you some scenarios." And so by the end of the conversation, as he's walking me out, he goes, I don't really know what to do with you or where I would put you. He's like, you've got all this knowledge and all this experience and all this stuff. And I said, okay, that's great. So here I am going through all of this within 3 days. So I'm like, oh gosh, by the end of the week, I should have a job offer. That was the end of September, and I haven't heard back from anybody.
No way.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've actually emailed them 3 times. 2 times I heard nothing, and finally I got a response. Oh, we're just still chatting, and I'll follow up with you. And I have not heard back from him, and it's probably been.
Oh, please.
Yeah. So
You're not. I mean, I feel like you got to be better responsive than that.
Oh, well, yes, but that's kind of been my experience where I'll have a call or an interview or a phone interview, and then nothing. I'll get an initial email. Let's set this up. Or I won't even get that far. I'll apply for a job that I'd like to say that I'm at least very competent and qualified for, if not a little over. And I'm trying to be modest and not try to be like I could run this company. But there's a lot of times where I don't hear back from anybody. And it's just, unfortunately, we went in another direction. So every time I've had that happen, I ask, hey, well, what was it that made you go in a different direction? Was it something that I didn't have? What was it? And nobody's responded to me. So I've done that probably a handful of times. So it's very frustrating.
I've heard a bunch of that on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Like I've watched stuff, friends trying to find jobs and everything. Like nobody's giving feedback, and like everybody's blowing them up on LinkedIn. It's like, guys,
When my mom,
you have to literally tell these people how they can better themselves, even if it's as simple as, somebody was just better qualified. That's fine. That's an acceptable answer to tell somebody. But like. We know like some places are getting 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 different applicants for things, which is okay. You can't respond to all of them. We get it, but the people that you're going to take the time to use their time, you need to also have the respect to give them feedback.
2, 3, 4 interviews. I mean, the same thing happened with my mom as she tried to move out to Arizona, right? She was a principal back in Indiana, didn't want to be that, but wanted to be like vice principal, somewhere in Phoenix. And it was the same thing. Like, she'd interview, she'd do really great. They'd hear really great feedback about these people, and then nothing, and she never got hired. And she did the same thing, reach out, like, what did I do? And some of it was just like BS excuses, even though another candidate may have not had like the same experience and maybe even worse experience. It's honestly, it's one word: political. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's frustrating, right? And going through that, for that first example, I wanted to just put them on blast and just go on LinkedIn and social media and just be like, how do you do this, right? Especially right now. Kudos for at least bringing me in and giving me that opportunity, but, thanks, but no thanks. And it's been very, very frustrating. So that's been my experience.
I know Ryan hasn't had to apply for a job, thankfully, in a while, so he's Mr. NASA, ready for liftoff at any point in time.
I mean, trust me, I think about it, right? Like, everybody thinks about, well, can I do better? Can I not do better, right? But I'm pretty young, right? So I think I'm in a pretty decent area, and of course I have those pros and cons. Everybody has those pros and cons, but at the end of the day, you got to think of which is best. And I think I'm pretty solid, fortunately. I mean,
and that's good. That's good. You know, it's a great place to be in. You know, it's the same place I was. You know, it's just I had a guy that's like, hey, yo, other company we also own. Would you like to look into that? And that's how I've been down the rabbit hole that I'm currently in. So
For sure. But hey, what is that? What's the email? Well, let's hear from everybody else. Let's kind of maybe open it up. What are those email? What's that email? Everybody can email.
Slightly average guys at gmail.com.
Slightly average guys at gmail.com. Let's hear it. There's tons of people interviewing right now. There's tons of people that lost their job. There's tons of people that have kept their jobs, right? And there's tons of opportunities for new businesses as well. I feel like right now, right? Everybody's making masks now. Everybody's trying to make their own hand sanitizer. Like, there's different venues to go down once the pandemic is come around.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hear it. What has been your story through interviews and job searching? SlightlyAverageGuys at gmail.com.
Yep. And we got the chat in there. So there's people chatting around, you know, talking about stuff. We got Banana Buzz Bomb, you know, in there. They're new. They just followed us. You know, Nate just followed us. You know, appreciate everybody's following. We are on every Thursday night around 7:30 to 8 is when about the times that we can start. And we appreciate everybody jumping in there. And we will do this more live. We'll probably actually start simulcasting in the next couple of weeks to a few other platforms. And as always, you can find us anywhere on all of the podcast platforms and on YouTube.
Quick shout out to DNA Flamingo. I have no idea who these people are. Oh my gosh. McHeather Grinder. Oh, it's just so funny. I know who you are, obviously, but it's so funny. DNA Flamingo. Quick shout out to you.
Are they on the radio? What?
We wish.
What is going on? All right, everybody. Appreciate it. See you next week.
Peace.